Okay, hi everybody. This is just a quick review of the game Firewatch. I played this blind, so I didn't really know too much about it before I started, but what I had seen looked really, really great. It was the pictures looked beautiful, and it's a kind of narrative-driven exploration game set in a kind of American national park. Looks absolutely gorgeous, which is one of the major plus points of the game, and I was really interested to play it. The game begins with you play a male character, and it kind of gives you this introductory story about where you meet the love of your life and you marry her, and then it all kind of goes sort of wrong. And the long and short of it is that you end up deciding to get away from it all and move on your own into the middle of a American national park, to work as a Firewatch, someone who basically just keeps an eye out for forest fires and reports on them. That's the premise. However, even during that introduction, it didn't work for me. There was weird kind of dialogue, weird story ideas, and it was all a little bit sort of cliched and badly put together. The developers, whoever wrote the dialogue, whoever wrote the story, I just don't think has a knack for it, because it was very kind of cliche filled, very repetitive, and it reminded me of every sort of bad film or bad television drama ever. It's sort of all been done before and was not that interesting and a little bit sort of tiring straight away. I thought perhaps, maybe the game, we could kind of forget about all of that and sort of carry on, but unfortunately not. You play this male character who basically I just did not like playing at all. I didn't like him as a character. He seemed a bit pathetic. He seemed a bit of a worrier. He just seemed a bit like the last person that would ever decide to work as a kind of isolated Firewatch on his own in the middle of nowhere, running around in the dark, exploring things. He was kind of nervous and weird. And you meet a female character who is basically the same, and makes some weird decisions that you basically don't. You kind of forgive her for doing some things which are actually pretty horrible. And there's constant kind of horrible flirting throughout, which is not enjoyable to be part of. Throughout the game, you get the chance to choose different responses during the conversations to kind of make the character more your own. However, all of the options were rubbish. Like, I had no interest in responding to any of them with any of the suggested responses, and often I just found myself letting the timer hit 0 and the game could pick whichever response it wanted rather than pick one myself. And it didn't seem to matter anyway. There was some horrible flirtatious moments of the worst kind, where, for one example, you have to pick the name of a forest fire that you can see on the horizon, and you kind of can choose to name it after this female character, or after kind of this sort of cute in-joke that you have, and it's all just a bit sickly. And yeah, that was basically a real problem for me in the game. Also, the other major kind of negative was there was a couple of moments of proper drama in the game where you did feel slightly like the tension was rising and that something might suddenly happen. However, both of those times, the drama was instantly dissipated by discovering the goal of this particular scene very quickly without any real issue. No kind of fear or tension was maintained, which was a real shame, because I really wanted to enjoy this game. I don't want to completely slag it off, however, because it is a beautiful game. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's beautifully realised. It's great running around in the park. Everything, as you can see, like as in the background here. Look at the sky. Look at the rocks. Look at the views. They're absolutely beautiful. So it's a beautifully made game. However, again, that almost is a bit of a failing, because they'd obviously painstakingly made this game and it's so gorgeous to run around in. And there were a few little moments of respite from the horrible conversation, radio-driven conversation, where you thought, I've got a moment now to run around in this wilderness and enjoy it, and there's a bit of a chill out soundtrack comes on, and the sounds of the forest are really great, and everything's beautiful, and all the lighting and shadows are beautiful, and then just as you're starting to kind of escape your room or wherever you're playing the game, and you're suddenly in this beautiful forest, you have to engage in some more horrible dialogue or some more horrible chatting about a story that you don't care about with characters that you don't care about playing. So they kind of missed the trick there again, because they spent so much effort on this beautiful game and then ruined it by not allowing you the time to really enjoy it. And there really isn't time, because there's a day-night cycle, and there's not sort of just days left to yourself. You have to do stuff all the time. So yeah, a bit of a shame. Missed the trick. Too cliche. I've seen it a thousand times before. Uninteresting characters, but beautiful. And so, unfortunately, not recommended.